Hey everyone, my name is Brad and this is my 2012 BMW S1000RR. It's got about 5,500 miles and is completely 100% stock, no modification whatsoever. She even gets the BMW oil. That's how OE this thing is. And I was graciously selected by Sportbike Track Gear and by way of proxy Graves Motorsports to install and evaluate this little guy. This is their new S1000RR slip-on. This is compatible from 2010 all the way up till 2014, and we're going to install this guy on that bike using nothing but this T45. This is probably the simplest thing to install I've ever seen in my life, and Graves is pretty proud of the way they constructed that pipe. Some of the features that they claim bullet pointed for you is this thing is a little more sleek of a look, so it sort of matches the profile of the pipes there, so it kind of retains like as much OE without being completely stock as you can get. And they definitely talk up their welding technique, and I will agree, their welds on that pipe are pretty spectacular. And this shaves about a pound off. The stock pipe's 2.98, and this guy weighs 1.97, and it's just slightly louder than the stock one. So I guess let's get to it. We'll fire it up and see how the stock one sounds. I've already pre-warmed my bike, so don't just start your bike in 22-degree Michigan weather and just rev it to the limiter. So let's see how she sounds. Stock S1000RR. This bike's actually way more pipe than engine. This is one of the loudest stock exhausts I've ever heard on a bike. It was enlightening the first time I picked her up from the dealer and realized how loud this thing actually was. So I guess let's get to it. I'm going to install this pipe a little bit differently than most cutaway videos. Since this thing's so simple, we're just going to do this whole thing in one cut. So to get started, you remove the upper T45 on the rear set. And this thing does have torque specs. I believe the install manual for this pipe says this was 14 foot-pounds, and I believe it. And then you have another T45 band underneath. Alright, loosen that guy way up. Slide this pipe off. And I'm wearing gloves because these exhaust parts are warm. One thing I'm not doing is I'm not disconnecting the butterfly that a lot of guys like to disconnect. It's just right under this thing, and I'm leaving that alone. It's not a Honda Civic. Alright, so in the directions it mentions to make this as flush as you can get it, and that's about how I got it. So I'm going to toss the T45 in back in the top. get her in there. Wait until it catches. There we go. Bike's still on, ignition's still on. Alright, I'll torque that down to spec later. So 14 foot-pounds. And the band, probably as tight as you can get it. Alright, let's see how it sounds. There you have it. I would say it changes the accent a little bit. It's not noticeably louder, which is a good thing. I believe it's only a couple decibels, maybe about 2, louder than the factory pipe, but it changes its accent significantly. I'd say it sounds pretty good. This is, I wish this is how it sounded out of the box. And again, the selling points of this pipe are that it retains all the OE hardware for the stock pipe, no extra bands or springs or anything, and OE hardware, and matches right up. And I would say the fit and finish on it is definitely deserving of being on this particular bike. And I've probably thoroughly pissed my neighbors off, but who cares? And this thing's pretty nice. It just changes the accent a little bit. It's a little more crisp, is how I'll describe it. Everyone's computer speakers will translate this a little bit differently, but I would say it makes it a little bit more crisp. And I tell you what, the retail on this thing is $495, and I would say based on how light it is and the build quality of it, it's very staggering, this pipe. It looks real good. All the rivets are tight, and the welds are like they've even gave it a bullet point. They're basically perfect, and it feels like a $750 pipe. And I guess you know, it's kind of in the same area as that Acra slip-on, and I am not a big fan of that pipe. It looks like the end is a little more bulbous, and I don't know, it doesn't really fit this bike as much as I wish it did, because I would have eventually probably put one of those on, but thanks to Graves, I think I got something I like a little bit better. So there you have it. Very easy install, and I wish everything was this easy. So thanks to Sportbike Track Gear for providing this to me to shoot this evaluation and install video, and thanks Graves Motorsports for making such an amazing pipe. I'll give you guys a little bit more of a close-up. the best part about this pipe is that it looks like it belongs there. The worst part about this pipe is now the rest of the exhaust looks like crap. So we'll see about what I can do about that, but excellent exhaust. Would buy.